This is one of my last memories, exciting memories on a golf course. It's the only time I felt equal. And I never had that feeling before. It's the only time I didn't felt alone. And God have a remarkable way, God in the universe, of talking to you. Because I was giving up on the golf industry after 40 years. I knew it would never be no equality. And I never knew. And I knew I would never be treated equally. Not even close. On the scale 1 to 100, me being treated equally was a 6. Even though I was making them millions of dollars, even though I was making them the talk of the town, the talk of the state, it meant nothing. Because they put someone over me to be the image of success. That's why they call it behind the scenes of golf. Now, President Clinton warned me about this in '95 when he was going over me making history. He said, everywhere you work, all around the United States and the world, going to know who you are. You're a prodigy. You're a chosen one from God. So they're going to put people over you with no experience, no degrees, so they can make the money and get the credit while you in the background. And I say, everywhere? He said, everywhere. He said, the experts say you'll be better off getting a job and don't put down you got a degree. It'll take you 20 years to get the job, but at least you will get a job. But if you put your degree up front, you ain't getting nothing. Because the one thing they hate, son, is your educated black, especially in the least minority friendly industry on the planet. And that, what degree you got. That's how I find that out. And so keep that in mind. Everywhere I go, the only weapon they got they can do to me is working the shit out of me. And not the people who hired me, the people who they put over me with no degree and no experience. And they tell them all the same thing. Learn what you can from David. Learn what you can from David. The whole while you with David, get a picture in the pad. He's a prodigy. He's the best in the industry. We hear all kinds of talks about him from all over the United States. Learn what you can learn before he leaves. Right? And there, as Cruz said, I never stay one place too long, which is a lie. I stay to the average place 10 years. My average job. But that the download. But one day, I was going home from work on the weekend on Saturday. And I knew it was a tournament. But I didn't know it's just another tournament. But when I would go home, I seen black people everywhere, all over the golf course. I'm like, what the hell going on? And I went home and I thought about that the whole Saturday all the way to Sunday. And when I got to work on Sunday, it was a note on my desk saying, David, the championship is today. So set the course up pretty average. Right? So today. So when the pro shop opened that Sunday, I went to go to the pro shop and general manager of golf pro was coming out. He said, hey, big boy, your brother's gonna play the championship today. And I said, what brothers? He said, this is the Black Golf Course Association Championship, where black association from all over Florida and Georgia gonna see who the best. I said, what? He said, yeah. I said, well, how you want the course set up? He said, ask the man right there. He the president of the Black golf course championship. He said, "I'll see you later, big guy." So the general manager left, and I the guy. I said, "How you want the course set up, sir?" He said, "Well, the old man's playing on the whites, and they're not too good. Golfer playing on the whites. Make that easy." He say, "The really good players are playing in front of blue. So set that up kind of hard because they're going to be the overall champ." And I say, "I'll do that." And he say, "Who is you, son?" I say, "I'm the golf course manager in charge this weekend." He said, "Man, I ain't never seen a golf course manager. We play golf all over Florida. And we've been playing for many years." "Well, who is that guy there?" I said, "Oh, he the golf pro general manager." He said, "And he over you?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "But what he got to do with the tournament? How the place look?" I said, "Nothing. That 100% on me and my boss man. The buildings, the roadways, houses, everything, sir. We got to have it looking decent, right?" And he said, "Well, this is the best looking place we done went to. So I'm sure we're gonna have the tournament here next year again. But man, it's nice to meet you." He said, "Man, you should have went to college like that guy." I said, "Man, he ain't went to college. Him or my boss man. I'm the only one. He ain't with a degree like most places. Everywhere I go, I'm the only one with a degree, and they find people to put over me with no degrees and no experience." I said, "He is clueless to anything going on but that pro shop, right?" So the man said, "Man, they do us wrong, don't they?" I said, "Oh yeah, they do us wrong, man. And now I'm getting old. I don't know how much longer I got. I don't think I have over a year to go, you know, because they didn't wore me out, man." I said, "They punished me with hard work, you know." And he said, "Well, let me shake your hand, young man, and hope to see you in the future." So me and my worker went to number one tee. And he ain't just my worker, he was my friend, you know. Me and him went through all our school together, from first grade to uh, high school. And he also, we worked together on the first job I ever had on the golf course, Summer OJT. So we went through the trenches together, right? And we were moving the marker. We only had to move the whites because of the blues were already perfect, you know. And a black guy walked up to us. He said, "Hey, I was just talking to Mr. So and so. He told me I need to come meet you. He said you the only black in the world with a degree." That's a damn lie. Thomas Simlin got the. He went to college. He got, and I know Thomas Simlin. We went to high school together, right? And I was confused because I didn't know Thomas Simlin went to school for golf until the guy said it again. He said, "You ain't the only black in the world with a degree, college degree. Tiger Woods and them other black." I'm like, what the hell this man talking? You know, I was confused until I realized what he was talking about. And I say, "Sir, don't want to debate." I say, "But I'm the only black with a golf course management degree." He said, "Ain't no such degree. Ain't no golf course management. What they gonna teach y'all how to cut grass?" You know, he said something smart, and now I'm holding back tears because I remember President Clinton telling me, "Don't tell black people you part of history and what you part of history for, because they ain't gonna believe you and they're gonna call you all kind of names and liars behind your back. Just keep it to yourself." And at the time when Clinton told me, I'm thinking, "Oh man, that can't be true." And now it's 30 some years later and it's happening. But I never tried to tell nobody. That was about the first time I told, a stranger that, But I tell my couple of my friends that I mention it every once in a while in workers, right? So the guy say, set up the course for the old man's heart. easy. And for the blue marker, set it up kind of hard because they good golfers and we want to see who the best out of all of Florida, out of all the different groups, right? So I say, okay, sir, I do that, right? So as me and my co-workers, which was my friend also, were riding around, he said, man, how I feel? I said, what? He said, your own people calling you a liar and talking to you like trash after what you accomplished. I said, feel like shit. That's why I don't talk about it that much. He said, God damn, man. He said, something just wrong with black people. And I said, well, he don't know. So before I went home that day, Satan said, man, stick around a little bit to introduce yourself. So I rode around a little bit, and the lady over a magazine, she said, can you take me to the 4 best holes to take picture? And I took her to 15 where I oversee the wall-to-wall for the first time, 11 where I oversee the wall-to-wall, and 16 where you took the picture from over the bridge where you go over the water and it's a beautiful. And I overseed that for the first time. And they looked at unrealistic. And then I went home and got a 12 pipe, cut all my lights off in the house, and absorb what just happened. And God is remarkable because God let me know that I'm not fighting for equality in golf alone. It's a whole team out there all over America is fighting for equality in golf. And I'm not alone. And I know right then why God was showing me that. Because a couple of months or maybe a year later, I couldn't walk no more. My career was over with, but God was showing me a glimpse of the future. That's what that was. I knew what I felt it. That was a glimpse of the future. And when I went to work that Monday, me, the general manager, and the superintendent were sitting down. And I said, hey, if it was an all-black tournament, why y'all didn't let me know? Don't you think it's appropriated if one of the only black in the world with a degree for you to say, one of y'all to say, hey, bring a change of clothes so after work you can hang around with the brothers and show your face because it's going to be all kind of magazines there and everything. And they look at each other and the general manager say, I said, it never occurred to y'all that I'm the only black in the world with my degree and maybe this would have been a good time for y'all to throw me a bone? For me to get to know them people and have photo shoots and everything, you can tell them ahead of time, hey, we got the only black in the world with a golf course management degree. Y'all need to showcase them. You couldn't have did that, Mike? He dropped that head. He said, we don't see it like that. We just see you as one of the best golf course superintendent there is. I say, but the pay and the respect don't reflect that, though, man. I say, well, y'all dropped the balls on this one, man. I say, I give up. I say, that just took the fight out of me. And that's the only time I felt equal on a golf course in 40 years. It brought tears to my eyes. Sometime right now today, when I think about it, I go to crying. Because I know I'm taking a glimpse of the future. And I'm not the only one fighting that battle. Like President Clinton said, you and Tiger Woods are the same. Y'all are prodigy. Except for Tiger Woods is on the front line so the world can see. And you are behind the scenes for no one to see. But you and the bad guy. And your job is 10 times harder than Tiger Woods ever dreamed of. Thank you and God bless.